And this inner sense is ethical. It's an ethical rudder. It answers the question, is what I'm about to do in keeping with my sense of meaning, values, purpose, and ethics? That's not a question that we answer first in words. We answer it first in what feels right and doesn't feel right. Then we put it into words. And every leader today needs a strong ethical rudder. So I'd say an inner awareness, inner focus is essential. Then there's other focus, which is being able to read people, being able to tune in to a person. There are three kinds of empathy, and this is empathy I'm talking about. The first is cognitive. Cognitive empathy means I understand how you think about things, your mental models, how you see the world. What that means is I'm able to communicate with you in terms you really understand, you really resonate with. Managers, leaders who are able to talk to other people with good cognitive empathy are able to get better than expected performance out of people because they know how to mobilize them. They know what matters. Then there's emotional empathy. Emotional empathy is an immediate felt sense of what's going on in the other person. And this is absolutely essential too. If you only have cognitive empathy and you don't have emotional empathy, you'll miss the mark. The third kind of empathy is very important too. It's empathic concern. Not only do I know how you think and how you feel, but if there's something you need and I can help you with, I'm predisposed to help. The leaders who have the most loyalty, who people love working for, have all three kinds of empathy. There's an article in the Harvard Business Review called Leadership Run Amok. Leadership Run Amok is about people who may have cognitive empathy but lack the other two. These are leaders who are very good at hitting the target, for example, but don't care about what happens to the people that they manage. They have no feeling for them, and so they demoralize people, or people are ready to leave if they're able. The third, Richard Davidson, who's a neuroscientist at the University of Wisconsin, has expertise in the brain and emotion. And he's found in his research that when we're agitated, when we're upset and angry and anxious, there's a lot of activity in the right prefrontal area, just behind the forehead. Also in the amygdala, the brain's trigger point for the fight, flight, freeze response. When we're, on the other hand, in a really positive state, I feel great, enthusiastic, what a wonderful day, there's a lot of activity on the left side and no activity on the right. Each of us has a ratio at rest of right to left activity that predicts our mood range day to day. He finds there's a bell curve for this, like for IQ. Most of us are in the middle. We have bad days, we have good days. If you're very far to the right, you may be clinically depressed or clinically anxious. If you're very far to the left, you're very resilient. You bounce right back from setbacks. So Davidson paired up with a fellow named John Kabat-Zinn, who has made mindfulness, as he calls it, very popular, for example, in the medical sector as a way to manage chronic conditions. And also, in the States, at least in business recently, a lot of businesses are bringing it in. And it's more or less what we just did. Davidson and Kabat-Zinn went to a biotech startup, a 24/7, high-pressure environment, and they taught people how to do mindfulness, which is more or less the exercise of watching the breath. But they did it 30 minutes a day for 8 weeks. What he found was that before that, people's brains were tilted to the right. They're pretty hassled and stressed. After 8 weeks, 30 minutes a day, they were tilting back toward the left. And what's very interesting is people spontaneously started saying, hey, I'm starting to enjoy my work again. I remember what I love about this job. In other words, the positive mood was really making a difference. There's one reason that businesses are bringing it in.